Hey, welcome back to the Asylum, your refuge in a world gone mad, right here on the Big Talker. Very excited to bring our morning host. Eventually it will be named for her. It will be her show. We're working on that, ladies and gentlemen, so please be patient with us. Miss Eden Gordon-Hill, how are you doing this morning, ma'am?
Hey, good morning, TK. So great to be back with you. Good morning, Eastern North Carolina. Good morning, world. It is Monday, August the 1st. Yes, we made it to August. I'm so excited. I am currently sitting in Chester County, Pennsylvania. Oh, what a beautiful area it is. It's a rainy day today, but I can see that our Cape Carteret, Eastern North Carolina weather is a beautiful sunny day, and it looks like it's about a high of 81 right now. It's going to be getting up to a high of 90 today. Good morning, everyone. This is Big Talker Live. Big Talker Network. Join us at bigtalker.live. It's so good to be with you. You know, TK, as we were texting yesterday, as I was driving from the great state of North Carolina all the way up here to Pennsylvania to Chester County, and my conversations with my husband, my texting and getting ready for the show with you, talking to family, I decided to hop off of 95 because it always gets clustered right by the Fredericksburg area, right by Quantico, and it's just absolutely a nightmare no matter what day you drive. And so I decided to hop off and go on 301 and take that up to Baltimore. And as this country continues to see what's happening in our nation's capital, as Americans look around and say, hey, what's going on here? We have a voice. We want to stand up for what we believe in. We do not want to be told what we can and cannot do. Last time we looked, this is a free country. I will tell you, I saw some amazing things as I was traveling up to Chester County, Pennsylvania, and I saw God's country. First and foremost, God's country. I saw fields of corn. I saw the American flag. I saw red barns with the American flags. I saw small businesses. I saw Americans. And you know what else I saw? This country loves Trump. And if you see behind me, we do miss you, President Trump. You are still our president. Yes, you are. I saw signs in Hanover County, Virginia, North Carolina, Maryland, and Pennsylvania. God bless America. God bless President Trump. Bring President Trump back. You know, the people have spoken. Big media, get out of here. Big pharma, get out of here. Big tech, no more. No more. The people are speaking. The people are rising up. No more censorship. You will not call the election of the United States. You will not call the presidency. We make that call. We voted President Trump in office. And you know what? If you watch on different news feeds that actually talk about President Trump, sorry, Fox News, you're kind of off my list at this point, too. Fox Business, you're good. I love Maria Bartiromo, Sunday Features, and her morning show, Mornings with Maria. She talks just with the way it's supposed to be. She says exactly what is happening. But I'll tell you what, the people have spoken. The people are rising up. We are one nation under God. We are fighting for our freedoms, and we are taking this country back. Get ready for 2024, people. I will tell you, yesterday it was reported, we have 100 days yesterday until November elections, for the general elections, for a potential red wave. But I'll tell you what, today is 99 days left. What are we doing to get out there? What are we doing to get Republicans in office? But hey, Republicans, just because you have an R next to your name, does it mean you truly are a Republican, or are you just a Republican in name only? When I was on the campaign trail running for state office, I ran into a lot of rhinos. Be aware. Be aware. Hey, conservatives, it's time for us to rise up. Clearly, we are out there on the front lines. Clearly, we are getting our messages across, but we have got to get conservatives back in Congress. And we need to get a conservative, God-loving, gun-toting president in office. I want a real commander-in-chief. You know, the vice president currently, the other day, felt the need that she had to introduce herself as what she was wearing and pronouns and that she's a woman. Well, I'll tell you what, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Eden Gordon Hill. I'm a child of God. I know what a woman is, and I have orange on this morning, and I don't have to use pronouns. We're tired of it, Kamala. You know, the most recent presidential poll stated that you're about 7th on the list. And for some reason, Pete Buttigieg, whatever he is, wherever he's from, I can't keep up with that man because every time I turn around, he's on paternity leave. He's number 1. Conservatives, we've got to rise up. We got to take this country back. You see behind me, I am in Chester County, Pennsylvania, amongst the beautiful cornfields, freedom-loving patriots, and I'm in the office I grew up in with all my political memorabilia. Sarah Palin, when she was running for vice president, and of course, we have Donald right behind us, and we have Reagan. Hey, you guys, remember those years? Remember when we had Reagan in office? Don't you want that back? Make sure you get out and vote. Don't sit on your tuchus. Get off of it. Get out there and do some grassroots work. Get out there and start educating the voter. Don't worry about your eyelashes and your nails. Get out there, get your knees dirty, and fight for our country. Fight for the red, white, and blue. This week, we have an amazing lineup of guests. You guys better get ready. Pull up your pants. Put on your big girl pants, ladies. We got some heavy hitters coming to our table this week. First and foremost, we have tomorrow Donna Jackson. She's with Project 21. She's going to talk about critical race theory and what it means for Black America. Tomorrow also we have Seth Keshel. Guess what he's talking about, ladies and gentlemen? He is talking about free and fair elections, the civil rights issues of our lifetime. Now, I'm going to tell you right now, save the date. Thursday, August the 11th, he's going to be in Morehead City at the Crystal Coast Civic Center. I'll tell you more about the details of that later. He'll be joining the show tomorrow to talk about election integrity. I'll tell you what, May 17th of this year, when I ran for State House, I saw a lot of issues, a lot of corruption. I was outdoor knocking 125 miles of Cedar Point to Cedar Island. And I'll tell you what, corruption spoke. And you look at the leaders who are going to be running in November's election, and you tell me, what the heck? Also, tomorrow, from the Education Freedom Center, Independent Women's Forum, Jenny Gentles will be with us. And that's just tomorrow. Get ready. We also have Common Sense New Jersey, Elizabeth Nader. We also have Turning Point USA chapter president from Chapel Hill talking about the pro-life issues that are facing University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill. We also have Melanie Collette. She's with 98.7 The Coast here in New Jersey, and she will be talking about her show, Money Talk with Melanie. We also have some very special guests from Eastern North Carolina. We have Kathy Timmons, who runs the Community Bible Study for Eastern North Carolina area, right in my backyard in Cedar Point. And this morning, get ready, ladies and gentlemen. You're going to be talking to a fierce educator, a fierce woman, a fierce leader in the Eastern North Carolina area. Her name is Maurice Friesner. She is the founder of Salt and Light Academy. She is an educator for more than 30 years. She is a missionary. She focuses on tackling human trafficking, which is in our nation's backyard. She talks about Salt and Light Academy, educating our students, educating the teachers, and her community outreach. She will be joining us at the 9 a.m. hour. It is 20 past 8 Eastern Time. It is Monday, August the 1st. We have a lot ahead of us this week, but most importantly, we have a nation that is one nation under God. We must fight back. We must take this country back. We must get conservatives in Congress. We must get freedom-loving Americans, God, country, freedom, liberty, and justice. For all of those who did not get to listen to our shows last week, just so you know, every Friday we're going to be doing Remembering Everybody Deployed. We're going to focus on our nation's veterans. We're going to focus on what is happening in our active duty and our military families. We're going to focus on the underemployment of our military spouses. We're also going to focus on our freedoms, our Second Amendment rights. And you know, this morning when we have Paul Valone on, we're going to talk about his show, Guns, Politics, and Freedom. We're also going to talk about the vote that happened in Congress this past week. Pelosi pushed it forward. Washington Post, here we go. House passes first ban on assault weapons in years. The key updates, says the Post. Analysis. GOP voters don't seem particularly enthusiastic about Republican candidates. No kidding. You hit that nail on the head, Post. Thank you. You know why we're not key about them? We're not enthusiastic about the Republican candidates? Because you're a Republican in name only. Conservatives would have fought. So, House passes first ban on assault weapon in years. Oh, and there's Mrs. Pelosi in all her glory. The full House passed legislation that would ban assault weapons for the first time in nearly 2 decades. The measure stands virtually no chance in an evenly divided Senate, but Democrats hope the House passage will send a message that the party is serious about gun safety legislation, following a spate of high-profile mass shootings across the country. Interesting. Also, the House Speaker, Nancy Pelosi, held a ceremony to celebrate a passage of 280 billion CHIPS and Science Act. You know, yesterday when I was watching and listening in my long drive, 10 hours total because of traffic, up here in Pennsylvania, I listened to Maria Bartiromo twice because they reran the show. And she had the senator from Wyoming on, and he was talking about how that bill and the high dollar amount, $280 billion. Are you kidding us? You know where that's coming from? My paycheck. My paycheck. The other thing that came out, as we're talking dollars and cents, the show could be potentially called The Cost of Freedom, but we also have some other ideas in mind, but we'll go back to that in a hot second. You know, the current commander-in-chief, well, I shouldn't even call him that. That's too much respect. The current man in the White House, who has COVID now twice, and his communications staff and department like to put spin cycle, spin cycle, spin cycle. Do you think the American people are that stupid? No, we're not. Do you know how many people have stopped watching World News Tonight, have stopped watching the news in general? Because they're sick of it. They're sick of being lied to. We're tired of it. So now the White House is spinning the recession that we are in. They're calling it something else. But why name it something else? They're calling it the transition. The transition to what? To steal our money? Take it out of our pockets? You're raping the American people. When are you going to wake up? You know, we have the opportunity as we head into August, head into September, October, and right around the corner is November. You and I both know We, the American people, our voices are louder than any presidential speech, are louder than any stupid Kamala speech, are louder than any Nancy Pelosi speech. You get up. You start fighting. You get out there. You take America back because this country is worth fighting for. I want to hear your thoughts. I know many people are following the show. Eastern North Carolina, I'm grateful for your support. Friends, family, neighbors. My friends and family, Pennsylvania, New York, New Jersey, Ohio, Florida. I'm grateful that you are coming out to support this show because you know what? People want the truth. They're tired of being lied to. We would love for you to call in. We would love for you to join the show. You can see up on the screen the number to call in. Join the conversation. We want to hear from you. It is 8:26 a.m. Eastern Time. It is Monday, August the 1st, and we have a great guest coming up, Bill Moore from Brunswick County GOP. We then will have Maurice Friesner with Salt and Light Academy, and we will end the show at 9:30 with Paul Valone talking about his book, talking about our rights, our gun rights, and talking about taking America back. Make sure you download our app, Android and iPhone. Go to bigtalker.live. We have an amazing week of guests ahead. We are grateful for your support, and we have a lot of fun events coming up for you guys in the fall. Let's take America back. Let's take America back. Hey, TK.
Yes, ma'am.
What do you got?
I got a news and weather break coming up and some aftermath from that wonderful little drizzle we had yesterday. That's about it.
Aftermath. Tell me about what happened last night.
Well,
We got some storms?
yeah, the storm that didn't happen Saturday finally came along Sunday and has pretty much, I mean, our grass will grow a lot more this week than usual, I'll say that. But
You know, that reminds me kind of the thought that we should probably get some emergency services people to talk about the increase in weather and the increase in hurricane season and get them to come on sometime in the next couple weeks to keep prepping people for what's ahead. Don't you agree?
Oh, yeah, the Dr. Cahoon's been pretty good about making sure that we're aware of flood signs and who to listen to when they say, hey, it's probably a good idea to get out of your neighborhood before you're stuck. You know, because he's pointed out a number of times that, you know, there have been rescue services under fire for not helping when they said, look, it's going to be more dangerous to go in and try and help you. So if you don't leave now, you are on your own.
Right.
And they still want to get mad when everybody's, you know, they've been told, if you stay, you are on your own. And if you get mad at the local services, that's your own fault. We told you to get out. We tried to save you before you needed saving. You put yourself in this situation. It's a hard line to roll because they can't win either way.
Yeah. Kind of reminds you of Katrina, the people that stayed back.
Yeah.
That were on their roofs. Yeah. Yeah. After you were there for Florence, weren't you?
I was. In fact, I lost the back end of my car's logo. That's the only damage my car sustained from it. But yeah, that was not fun. That was less than fun. I remember being the neighborhood hero, driving around with a tiny little Stihl chainsaw and cutting up everybody's yard and getting them out of their driveways. I was everybody's hero that week.
Yeah. Isn't it amazing that it takes crises like that to bring community together?
And education. I mean, the people that are more educated are less likely to find themselves up a tree without a paddle, right? And we don't seem to teach the skills necessary in either public or private schools, because I've encountered a number of people that were, how would you say, entitled and such, and they still couldn't figure out how to not put themselves in a predicament. I'm going back a few years to a hurricane. We were in South Carolina on vacation, and it was amazing how many people didn't have jumper cables in their cars. It was amazing how many people didn't have either a spare tire or a way of inflating, because a lot of spare tires are shipped not inflated, so you have to inflate them. So many people just absolutely not prepared. They just jump in, turn the key, and start driving. I have first aid kit. I have 3O silk. I have roadside flares. I have jumper cables. I have all kinds of.
Yep.
I wouldn't say emergency, but if something happened, I can at least offer a little comfort until the red and blue lights get there.
Yeah, exactly.
But these people couldn't even take care of themselves. So a hurricane's coming. The entire state of South Carolina had said, "Get out! It's a mandatory evacuation. Get out!"
Right.
And there were people like, "Well, can I borrow some money for gas?" What? Real? Wait, no, you can't. That's your side. That's your lane. That's your car. And it really opened my mind that it takes a crisis to realize how horribly unprepared we are at various levels, either as a group, right? Because some of these places have equipment that have been outdated by 20, 30 years. And in many cases, it's the individuals that just don't have any personal responsibility to their own survival.
Yeah.
And of course, the caveman in me wants to say, well, you're dingo food.
Well, I'll tell you what, one thing I noticed with, I'm thinking ahead for all the transplants that have come down from New York, Pennsylvania, New Jersey, Ohio, and have moved to North Carolina. I know for me, it was a new thing. And I'm grateful to be married to an Army and National Guard wounded warrior veteran who knows how to prep, who has been on the front lines when people have stayed in their cars and have driven through high amounts of water. I'm grateful that he has taught me a lot of those life applications going through that. And I think emergency services in Morehead City, North Carolina, is definitely a resource for the new constituents that are moving in high numbers to North Carolina, to South Carolina, to Georgia, and also to Florida. They really need to be educated on how to deal with hurricane season and tropical storms, because it is something completely different that you really don't see up here in the north as you do down in the south. So I definitely would like to get some emergency services team members on here just to talk about the steps, the tools, the communication plan, all the equipment they need, and to not depend on your cell phone, because the towers are going to go down, plain and simple, right?
Without electricity, much does not work.
Exactly. You got it. I'm looking forward to talking to Bill Moores. He's going to join us here in a few minutes, right?
Yep. It'll be just a few minutes, probably right after this break.
All right.
So I guess we should take the break and get all that started. Is that what you're saying?
Let's go ahead and get this baby running.
Well then, with that in mind, ladies and gentlemen, please don't go anywhere. The Asylum, your refuge in a world gone mad. We'll be right back after these.
Hello, I'm Matt Bennett with WWAY News. Police in Wilmington need your help after an overnight shooting Saturday. Around 1 o'clock, officers responded to a shots fired report at the intersection of North 2nd and Princess Streets. When they arrived, they found a shooting victim on the sidewalk. He was taken to New Hanover Regional Medical Center with non-life-threatening injuries. Wilmington Police is asking anyone with information to come forward. You can remain anonymous by using the Tip 411 app. Crews continue to search for a 24-year-old swimmer who went missing Friday in North Topsail Beach. What was supposed to be a family reunion vacation changed dramatically. As the family prepared dinner, Christopher Guthrie went to the beach to look for his 24 and 12-year-old nephews. He says the brothers were headed toward a wrecked shrimp boat and apparently got into trouble after the tide started to rise. The 12-year-old was saved. The 24-year-old remains missing. Starting today, parking fees are going up in downtown Wilmington. Last month, City Council approved the increases after staff completed a study of parking fees in other nearby cities of similar size. That study found Wilmington's fees were lower. Starting today, several increases will be going into effect. On-street meters are increasing from $1.50 to $2 per hour. The free parking grace period at the 2nd Street and Market Street parking decks will decrease from 90 minutes to 30 minutes. Fees also increase at the 2nd Street and Hannah Block lots, the Convention Center, and River Place deck. The city says the higher rates will help cover operation costs and other capital improvements. And a Chick-fil-A in North Carolina has been looking for so-called volunteer workers who would be paid with chicken sandwiches and fries instead of paying actual wages. The store in Hendersonville posted the position on social media Tuesday, calling it a, quote, volunteer-based opportunity where drive-thru workers would be paid with 5 entrees a shift instead of money. The move generated some backlash. For more on these stories, you can head over to WWAYTV3.com. I'm Matt Bennett. Have a great day.
Happy Monday, everybody. I'm WWAY meteorologist Ramel Carpenter with the Storm Track 3 forecast. Another hot and humid day on tap as we kick off a new month of August, and our highs inland of the coast are going to climb into the middle 90s. Heat index values will range anywhere between 100 to perhaps 104 degrees from time to time. As we head into the second half of the day, there's only a small chance for some isolated showers and thunderstorms to develop. Most backyards are going to hold on to dry time. As for tonight, still remaining warm and steamy as we fall down to the middle and the upper 70s. Get your full forecast on WWAY and WWAYTV3.com.
This news and weather is brought to you by Two Men and a Truck. For your free quote, go to twomenandatruck.com. twomenandatruck.com.
The Boiling Spring Lakes Motel, located at 2 North Shore, is a peaceful and convenient place to stay. Newly renovated rooms with a comfortable back porch welcomes everyone. Discount rates are available to those who might need more time. Close to the beach, everything you need for a fun vacation. Call Stephanie at 910-845-2893. Boiling Spring Lakes Motel.
Oh no, our roof is leaking and hurricane season is right around the corner. Don't let a leaky roof keep you up at night. Protect your home. Call Best Choice Roofing to schedule your free, yes, absolutely free roof inspection. Best Choice Roofing works with insurance or can repair the roof before the next storm, whether it's a full replacement or a repair. Choose the best. Call Best Choice Roofing at 910-228-5000 or go to bestchoiceroofing.com to book your appointment today.
I am State Farm Agent Rob Renz, and I want to help you get to a better place. Visit us online at ilminsurance.com. That's ilminsurance.com. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Hey, welcome back to the Asylum, your refuge in a world gone mad, right here on the Big Talker Network. Please visit the website at bigtalker.live, bigtalker.live. Download the app for Android and iOS devices. Peruse our schedule of content and make sure you Bluetooth your smart device with your automobile's entertainment center to take the Big Talker anywhere and everywhere you want to be. And now back to the real reason why you're here in the morning, Miss Eden Gordon-Hill. Welcome back.
Hey, good morning. Thanks, TK. Good morning, everyone. It is 8:37 a.m. Eastern Time. It's Monday, August the 1st. We've made it to August. All right. And we have back with us this morning, it is Bill Moore. He's with the Brunswick County GOP. And I know he has quite a bit of things to share with us this morning. So, Bill, welcome.
Thanks for having me back. It's always a pleasure to talk to you guys and get a chance to debate a few issues and, put some ideas out on the table.
Yeah, great to have you, Bill. So I know you want to talk about a couple different things this morning. You want to talk about your show tomorrow?
Yeah, just so we can get that out of the way, because the last time I had to squeeze it in because we got so involved in everything else. Tomorrow night on All Things Brunswick, which airs at 6 o'clock, and you can get it in usual sites. And we have a guest coming in, Dr. Tony Maglione, who's a cardiologist in Wilmington. He is a noted conservative. He was the only one screaming in the wilderness, so to speak, when all this COVID stuff started 2 years ago and calling it for what it was. In addition to that, he is a noted author, and he has several books out. The latest one was an answer to Saul Alinsky's Rules for Radical. He came out with a book called Rules for Patriots. So he'll be there on the show tomorrow night, and we gave him the whole hour because I think it's going to be an exciting time.
Yeah, that sounds wonderful. I look forward to hearing the show. I know that you have quite a few things that you wanted to highlight. Is there anything specifically local with the GOP, any of upcoming events that you want to just tell our audience about where they could potentially get involved and potentially support you and your work with the GOP?
Well, yeah, there's a couple of things going on. Thank you for asking. First of all, September 9th, it's a Friday night in St. James Community Center. We have the honor of having the Lieutenant Governor come down for a dinner with us. And he's going to be, we haven't heard him speak. It's worth the money and the time to hear the man speak. I will tell you one thing, I would never want to follow him because he's just that dynamic. If you want information, just go to BrunswickCountyGOP.org and the tickets are available there. And we'd love to have you come and listen to the man. He is that dynamic. Also on the 20th, we have a golf tournament coming up on the 13th of August. If you're interested in joining with a foursome, there's still a limited number of seats out there. Again, go to that same website, BrunswickCountyGOP.org, and you can find out how to get your foursome involved. And finally, we're starting an outreach program for non-traditional Republicans. So on the 27th of this month, it is August already. My God.
Yeah,
the 27th of the month, we are running the equivalent of a yard sale aimed primarily at the Hispanic community. And we're asking them to come in and talk to us, look around, maybe buy a few things for their own use, and try to get them involved in the party. So that's the major things that we have going on in the next 30 days.
Oh, that's wonderful. Lieutenant Governor Robinson, I was at CPAC in February, and he followed the America's Governor, Ron DeSantis, shortly after that speech. And he is a phenomenal speaker. He just is larger than life. He loves the great state of North Carolina, and he does bring a certain presence to the table. So for all of you out there in the audience who are local to the Wilmington and Eastern North Carolina area, and if you're not, and if you want to travel and hear the amazing Lieutenant Governor Mark Robinson of the great state of North Carolina, I totally encourage you to get out there and come hear him speak. I'm grateful, Bill, that you guys are putting this together and making this happen. We also, here at BigTalker.live, Big Talker Network, we will have the opportunity to sit down with the Lieutenant Governor come September 23rd and 24th, because we will be on Radio Row with Salt and Light, North Carolina Faith and Freedom Coalition, and he will be in attendance to that. So we are looking forward to being in that space and just being around such great Americans who love this country. So thank you for sharing that, Bill. What else do you have on your to-do list for this week? Sounds like you have a lot going on.
Well, yeah, I'm going to Raleigh for something else, but some of the things, we're just very busy trying to get involved. We're actually in the process now of putting together a team to rent 3 electronic billboards for the election because, every media we can find. And hopefully that'll be locked in by the end of the week, and we'll get that done too. Saturday night, I went to the Judicial Fund Breakfast that was held in Wilmington, where the invited all the judges running a statewide office to come in and talk to everybody. And obviously it was a fundraiser, but it was very well run. Congratulations to Will Connect, who ran it for the state, and he's the chair of New Hanover County. And it was a good time, was had by all. And again, the speakers were just outstanding. And if you're just listening to them, you can't help but say, these are the right people. We have to support them.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yes. I know there's some other things you wanted to talk about more at the national level. And one thing that you said on the break, it just really was awesome. Talk to me about our POTUS, our current sitting POTUS, and how the inflation numbers could go, higher than his what?
According to what I've been hearing and reading, the possibility that the inflation rate could actually bypass his popularity rate. And that's not going to be.
Okay, TK, where's the drum when you need it? But I'm bummed. Seriously. I mean, but I have no doubt in my mind that that's going to be the case. What else are you hearing about that? And how quickly do you think that's going to turn? Do you think it's going to be within the week, within the month? As we head into these general elections, we're 99 days out.
The longer he denies a recession and the more we get into it, the worse it's going to become. And everybody with any kind of brain realizes we're in a recession. And your fact that you want to double speak it from old 1984 and change the word doesn't make it true. There's an old line that says, "That's truth is a truth whether you believe it or not." And that's the bottom line. It is still the truth. We're in a recession. It's not going to get better with what they're doing. And that leads me kind of into the next thing that I want to talk about was the veterans bill, about the veteran burn bill. just voted, they couldn't get the procedural vote to take it to the floor in the Senate. And there's been a lot of attacks against the Republican group that support the 60. And initially I was concerned, but like a good thinking conservative Republican, I decided before I made a decision, I'd do some research on it, and not just pop the door and say, this is what it is, because that's the way I feel. Anyway, the reality of it is, the reason that so many Republicans supported it the last time it came through was because it was the funding was put under mandated funding, which translates no one could spend it in that area. You couldn't move the money around. The bill that just came back to vote on yesterday or the last week was moving the money to discretionary funds. So that $450 billion would end up going into discretionary funding, which means the administration could move it around and spend it as they see fit, and the vets wouldn't see a dime of it. So there is some talk that the bill will be brought up again for procedural vote this week with the change, bringing it back to mandated funding, and then it should go through without a problem. But if that's the case, I think in the long run, the Republicans did us a service by ensuring that that money will go where it belongs and not just passed and spent anywhere they want to.
Bill, you're hitting a very, very sensitive nerve with me when we talk about our veterans and the fact that this president, who is not a commander-in-chief, is not doing anything for our veterans. And I'm calling it as I see it. When I worked for President Trump, he was at the forefront of the veteran issues. He was at the forefront of the VA, making sure that the lights stayed on and they got top-notch care, first-class care. So what does that say to us? So what does that say to us now? All the money's being moved around. Who's getting it underneath the table? And the vets will not see any of it.
That's the problem. Now, the other side of that coin is, and this may sound stupid, but it actually might be a solution for our vets that would work. I think we need to take all our homeless vets, fly them down to Mexico, have them come in illegally. They will then get housing, medical, and anything they possibly need and taken care of.
Yeah. Do you have your plane ready? How many can you fit on your plane? I'll help you with the rest.
My plane, but I know TK can get him there because he's got all that power. But, as stupid as that sounds, that's really where we're at, because we are taking care of anybody except the people that volunteered to go the extra mile in support of this country. And that's the shame. They should be our number one priority always. And instead, they're the last people on the list always.
Well, let me ask you this. We are from the great state of North Carolina. We are looking at an empty suit who is sitting in the governor's office. And then we look at the amazing work of Lieutenant Governor Mark Robinson. And we have, Republicans who are leading in the state. But, my question to you have been in the state for quite a while in leadership with Brunswick County GOP. And I just sit there and ask you, what can we do as a state, power back to the states to help our veterans? What can we do to make sure that they are going to get first-class care? Because I'll tell you what, when I was on the campaign trail and I talked to veterans issues, I looked around at local leadership and also those who were sitting officials. It was like I had two heads because I cared about our veterans and I wanted to make sure they had everything that they need. And I sat there and said, there's 9,000 veterans alone in Carteret and Craven County. That's a lot. And then we have our active duty on top of that. So what are we doing as a state? What are we doing as a state? What can you talk to that?
Not enough, unfortunately. And the Republican majorities have certain problems because they still don't have the supermajority to make something happen if the governor doesn't want it. And the governor often will hook any kind of help like that against his Medicaid expansion. And that doesn't help us. However, and I forget the senator's name, the state senator's name, but he's right out of Fayetteville. He is in charge of, basically, he's the man to talk to anytime you want to get any veterans activity going on. And I've met with him in the past, and he's very, very much pro-veteran. So we need to push our state legislators and remind them that the vets are the reason we're here. Forget the rest of it. We are here because the veterans swore he would either give his life, and some actually have, and we have to protect them because as I always tell people, when I finally retired from the military, I took an oath to defend the Constitution. No one ever relieved me of that oath, And I'm still there to defend that Constitution. But the other side of that coin is we have to remember that vets need to be taken care of because they've gone the ultimate, and their families too. Because as I always tell people, families serve just as much as the veterans or the active duty people. Many a time my wife was left holding the bag and running everything for whatever time I was gone, and she did it without complaint. At least the complaints I didn't hear, and she did a great job, and she was always there when I came home. But we need to take care of our veterans up and down. I can't say it enough, and we're just not.
Yes.
And we need to push our state legislatures to find out what's going on. But I think the first thing we need to do is get to veterans organizations and find out what they need, and not go. If we're going to ask for something, we got to know what they need, not what we think they need.
Well, as you're sitting there saying that, talking about the veterans organizations, there are a lot of veterans organizations in our North Carolina backyard. We have Hope for the Warriors. They are at Camp Lejeune. We have the USO, Camp Lejeune. We also have them at Cherry Point. And then we also have Operation Resolute, which is based out of Eastern North Carolina, really focused on Fort Bragg and the soldiers and their families. So we do have tools at our hands that we need to be working with and building that bridge between the State House and the local VSOs and military organizations that are serving them. We have plenty. We have plenty to work with. We also have the Garrison East Foundation, and they left California to move to Nashville, Tennessee, to be closer to Fort Bragg. They even said it in one of their quotes. So we have them. And then we have the Elizabeth Dole Foundation, who's working with our hidden heroes, which is the children of the military. They are helping them. They're helping the spouse, both man and woman. And so we have in our backyards literally plenty of veteran service and military organizations that needs to be a bridge to the State House, to the Lieutenant Governor's office, to the Governor's office, to keep that conversation alive. I remember looking at the committee that focuses on Homeland Security, military, and veterans. And I remember in my speeches, as I was going around the district, I said, why is it that the only thing that is important to this committee currently is the fact that they want to make sure our veterans and their families and our military and their families get free passes to around the state to theme parks and things of that nature. But yet you have how many veterans who are being denied care? You have how many veterans that haven't seen their doctor since before COVID? You have how many veterans who are missing their follow-up appointments as they get older? So there is a huge gap between what's happening in Raleigh and what's happening literally on the ground. I do want to challenge who gets in November. I want them on the show.
I have an interesting suggestion for you. And I don't mean to put you on the spot, but say it anyway. If you're interested, I have a building, and we could organize between you and I a veterans conference of all the support groups that support veterans around the state. We could hold it in my headquarters, and TK knows we can even do a virtual on it, and maybe invite some of the state legislatures to talk and hear what's going on, and try to get things moving.
You know what we should do, Bill? I love it, and you're not putting me on the spot. Let's do a veteran town hall. Let's do it right before November. Let's do it to honor this country, to honor our veterans, and to wake up the beast. And that is those who are running in November. And you know what? It's going to be telling, Bill, because behind the scenes, I can tell you exactly who's going to show up and who's not. And that's the concerning part to me.
Well, the trick is going to be to get certain critical senators or assembly people there, or representatives, like they call themselves. I'm sorry. But we need, and then also get the leadership there. And I think if we put this together, we can make this happen. I love the idea of a town hall, and TK has the ability to go with it in any direction. And we have most of the equipment we need down there already. Am I right there, sir?
Oh, yeah. You guys are pretty much ready to take over the planet on your own. You just need me to turn the key.
TK. You know what? You know what, Bill? What if we did something in and around Veterans Day? What if we brought all of our shows together and did a round robin of Veterans Day interviews and focus on a town hall for our veterans and went, full force? And then TK, you just turn the key and we run with it. What about that? I think that would be
We're going to need hot dogs and ice cream too.
And apple pies.
There
And
you
apple
go.
pie and pumpkin pies. Yes. You know what, Bill? Let's do it. Let's do it, sir. I'm not just saying that because we're live. I'm saying that we're going to do it. We're going to make this happen because our veterans deserve it.
And we have,
Okay.
like 6 weeks to plan it?
It has to be before Veterans
We
Day
can do
the
it.
11th.
The 11th?
So and Election Day is the 8th. So I would suggest the week before so we can have some effect
Okay.
immediately.
Yep.
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 Find a
I
date
think
that
that's
works,
fabulous.
and we're going to go with it. And that's great.
So we're putting it out there. Congressman Ted Budd, who's running for Senate. We're putting it out there. Mark Robinson. Who else do we got coming down the pike? We have a lot of people who are up for re-election in your area and also in mine. Those who are running for state house. We also have Norm Sanderson.
Those that are running for Congress.
Yep.
And I know I can turn out our people from the local area without a problem. My elected leadership or representatives in our area are extremely pro-veteran. Charlie Miller is an excellent example. Frank Eiler, Bill Rabin, who's the state senator, is actually in charge of the Rules Committee at the state level. He would be more than welcome to be there and help us. So we can get this started. We'll have to put some stuff together and make it happen. But I agree. Let's make it go.
Yeah, we will do it. We are at 8:56 a.m. Eastern Time. This is the Asylum in a world that has gone mad. This is your refuge. I am Eden Gordon Hill. It is Monday, August the 1st, and we have all things Brunswick with Bill Moore, and we are about to head into the news break. But Bill, any last thoughts on what's going to be coming down the pike? Anything else you would like to talk to?
Quick ones. First of all, we're hearing all this stuff about Joe Biden being reinfected and having to lock up again. I have a different spin on that. In October, when I came down with COVID and recovered from it, my doctor told me that the symptoms could last up to 3 months, and you'd be testing positive for up to 3 months. And in fact, it was almost 2 months before my symptoms disappeared. So my thought is, he's obviously having the same thing that's out there, but I think they're trying to find a way to isolate him and keep him out of trouble.
Yes, I completely agree. I had a friend from the previous administration message me and said, you know what, you better be aware, be ready. They're going to be doing something with him, like you said, isolate him, keep him out of the press from consistent mess ups. Even Ronnie Jackson, I believe, the congressman who was the president's doctor for Trump, came out and said, I'm paraphrasing, I'm not going to quote him verbatim, but just how concerning it is to take a look at the current person in the White House and how unhealthy and unstable they are, both mentally and physically. I also, I sit there and say, wow, isn't that elder abuse in many senses? That's very concerning to me that the Democrat Party would stoop to that level in elder abuse for that person that is sitting within the Oval Office. What are your thoughts on that?
The man did not deserve to win to be there, but that's aside from that, he is obviously not capable.
Right.
It is not fair to him. It is not fair to the country. It is not fair to the world. Frankly, the world is in a more dangerous place with him sitting where he is, because when you deal with dictators and other groups out there, they smell weakness. And when they smell weakness, it's going to happen. Look at something very simple. Nancy Pelosi is not talking about whether she's going to go to Taiwan or not, because they could be shot at. You know what? If that happens, let's pick the month before his term is over that they try to take over Taiwan physically.
Yeah. Well, when we have you back next week, Bill, we will pick the month and we'll start strategizing. All things Brunswick, Tuesdays at 6 p.m. with Bill Moore. It is 8:59 a.m. It is Monday, August the 1st, and we are so grateful to have you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. See you next week.
All right.
Well, with that in mind, ladies and gentlemen, we'll be right back after the news and weather break right here on the Big Talker Network, specifically in the Asylum, Your Refuge in a World Gone Mad. Don't go nowhere. You're tuned in to the Big Talker Network, Wilmington, North Carolina's premier internet station for news and talk radio programming. Find us online at bigtalker.live.
Marine Service Pro and the Tackle Box Seafood, located at 8210 River Road, Southport, is open Monday through Friday, 8 to 5, with the Tackle Box open Monday through Saturday, 7 to 6. Marine Service Pro is a full Suzuki and Tohatsu dealership. They deal in pre-owned boats, full service and repair, with certified technicians in all engines, and fiberglass specialists. The Tackle Box offers fresh, local seafood, live bait, a tackle shop, and fish packing and shipping. They also offer a full-service U-Haul dealership. Spend time with Leon or Jenny for one-stop shopping at Marine Service Pro and the Tackle Box Seafood, 8210 River Road, Southport.
Hello, I'm Matt Bennett with WWAY News. Police in Wilmington need your help after an overnight shooting Saturday. Around 1 o'clock, officers responded to a shots fired report at the intersection of North 2nd and Princess Streets. When they arrived, they found a shooting victim on the sidewalk. He was taken to New Hanover Regional Medical Center with non-life-threatening injuries. Wilmington Police is asking anyone with information to come forward. You can remain anonymous by using the Tip 411 app. Crews continue to search for a 24-year-old swimmer who went missing Friday in North Topsail Beach. What was supposed to be a family reunion vacation changed dramatically. As the family prepared dinner, Christopher Guthrie went to the beach to look for his 24 and 12-year-old nephews. He says the brothers were headed toward a wrecked shrimp boat and apparently got into trouble after the tide started to rise. The 12-year-old was saved. The 24-year-old remains missing. Starting today, parking fees are going up in downtown Wilmington. Last month, City Council approved the increases after staff completed a study of parking fees in other nearby cities of similar size. That study found Wilmington's fees were lower. Starting today, several increases will be going into effect. On-street meters are increasing from $1.50 to $2 per hour. The free parking grace period at the 2nd Street and Market Street parking decks will decrease from 90 minutes to 30 minutes. Fees also increase at the 2nd Street and Hannah Block lots, the Convention Center, and River Place deck. The city says the higher rates will help cover operation costs and other capital improvements. And a Chick-fil-A in North Carolina has been looking for so-called volunteer workers who would be paid with chicken sandwiches and fries instead of paying actual wages. The store in Hendersonville posted the position on social media Tuesday, calling it a, quote, volunteer-based opportunity where drive-thru workers would be paid with 5 entrees a shift instead of money. The move generated some backlash. For more on these stories, you can head over to WWAYTV3.com. I'm Matt Bennett. Have a great day.
Happy Monday, everybody. I'm WWAY meteorologist Ramel Carpenter with the Storm Track 3 forecast. Another hot and humid day on tap as we kick off a new month of August, and our highs inland of the coast are going to climb into the middle 90s. Heat index values will range anywhere between 100 to perhaps 104 degrees from time to time. As we head into the second half of the day, there's only a small chance for some isolated showers and thunderstorms to develop. Most backyards are going to hold on to dry time. As for tonight, still remaining warm and steamy as we fall down to the middle and the upper 70s. Get your full forecast on WWAY and WWAYTV3.com.
This news and weather is brought to you by 2 Men and a Truck. For your free quote, go to 2menandatruck.com. 2menandatruck.com.
Teachers and parents, the North Carolina Symphony is here to support you as you carry on the education of your children and students. Take your kids on a free virtual field trip to the Symphony with a virtual education concert and companion student book. Go on a virtual journey to learn what makes music music with music by William Grant Still, Beethoven, Brahms, and more. Access the free video and student book with password 1932 at ncsymphony.org/virtual.
I'm K.O. Davis from K.O.'s Coast to Coast Tree, and I want to be your tree man.
When your trees need cut, 2 letters to know. One is a K, the other is is an OKO.
Tree man. Proper trimming is the most important thing that you can do. So don't just hire anybody to do it. You need someone that knows what they're doing.
KO.
Call the professionals at KO's Coast to Coast Tree and visit KOTrees.com.
I am State Farm Agent Rob Renz, and I want to help you get to a better place. Visit us online at ilminsurance.com. That's ilminsurance.com. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Hey, welcome back to the Asylum, your refuge in a world gone mad, right here on the Big Talker Network. Please visit bigtalker.live, the website, so that you can peruse our schedule of content, download the app for Android and iOS devices, as well as send us an email with any comments, questions, concerns, compliments, or critiques you may have, because we cannot improve without your help. And one of the biggest improvements this station has made in a while would be Miss Eden Gordon-Hill joining the team. Welcome back. And,
hey, good morning.
And the coolest thing is the stack of guests that she brings to this show week after week. So everybody should just, shut up and pay attention to the next guest and her interview, and the world will be much better.
Thanks, TK. Good morning, Eastern North Carolina, and good morning, Chester County, Pennsylvania. I am up here visiting family and doing some work and just being amongst God's country. So great to be up here. So great to be with family and friends this week. And I wanted just to say thank you for all of those guests that are going to be joining us this week. You are on Big Talker Network. Go to bigtalker.live and download the app and check us out. It is August the 1st. We made it, people. It's almost fall. I'm so excited. It is 9:06 a.m. Eastern time, and I have the honor to introduce and bring to the show for the very first time Maurice Friesner. She is with Salt and Light Academy in Swansboro, North Carolina. She has been an educator for 30 years. She works on the human trafficking front. She fights human trafficking. She makes sure it is not in our nation's backyards. And she also is empowering teachers. My goodness, Maurice, you are just a phenomenal human. I'm so glad to have you here. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Yeah, it's a privilege for me. I'd like to take just a split second to ask God what David asked him in Psalm 19, and that's that the words of my mouth and the meditation of my heart would be acceptable in his sight during this time. So thank you for welcoming me. I am excited to be here with you this morning.
Oh, my pleasure. So for all of our audience out there, both in Eastern North Carolina and around the globe, Maurice and I were introduced by dear friends in Cedar Point, North Carolina. Maurice is an educator. She's been an educator for 30 years. So when we chatted last week, I have a whole page here full of notes of what she is doing to empower the next generation and what she's doing to empower our teachers. And so, Maurice, first and foremost, let's talk about you being an educator for the past 30 years, and you have Salt and Light Academy. And why did Salt and Light Academy come to be? What's its purpose?
Yeah, let me say, I'm actually at year 29 in case somebody wants to check, and 30. But I honestly, it was birthed in my heart a long, long time ago. I would love to just acknowledge when I was in the 4th grade, I had a phenomenal teacher, Mrs. Schlosser, who is no longer on planet Earth. But back then we had students with special needs, and there was not a particular space for them, in all honesty. I was in the 4th grade in 1984. And one of the students in this class with me was a boy named Tony, and he really, really struggled with his special needs. And I felt bad that he just kind of sat next to me in class, didn't know how to write, didn't know how to read, struggled through those things. And I begged the teacher to let me teach him while she was teaching me. And because she let me do that, giving to others just sparked something in me at a very, very young age. So fast forward to me being in college, and I am on fire. I went to Ohio Dominican, now University. Wouldn't trade it for the world. Phenomenal education experience, laid the foundation for who I am as an educator. And at that time, I was on top of the world, young college kid. I grew up in a town with a population 400. So I'm in the dorms. I've moved out of my little bubble, and I'm just thinking I can conquer the world. And my grandpa, Kellenbarger, who's technically not my grandpa, was really invested in my life. And as I struggled with how to communicate with people, how much do I share and how much is crossing the line? It was my grandpa who said, honey, you are called to be two things. God calls you to be salt and light, and neither one of those makes a sound. That became the mantra of my life, that I would lead by example, that I would love by example. And so when Salt and Light Academy was birthed in me, it's kind of a funny story, I have to say. My sister Melanie and I took the small business class at Coastal in Jacksonville. Phenomenal experience with the idea that we were going to open a bakery. And here I am 13 years later with Salt and Light Academy.
I love how God does things like that. That's really great. Talk to me about, you are wanting to empower teachers in the climate of what's happening in our nation's schools, both public, private, charter, etc. And you said something to me I had not heard before, and that is you want to empower the teachers, teaching teachers how to teach. Talk to me about that.
Thanks, Eden. Yes. Through my experience in all sorts of classroom settings, beginning a little fifth grade class in a little tiny Catholic school in Ohio, to Swansboro High School teaching algebra, 2-year-olds for a season. I have seen it all, public, private, you name it. And my heart has seen that we are doing a lot to build curriculum, to write curriculum, to choose curriculum. We're doing very little to love our teachers and to love them, to love their students. Mm-hmm. So my heart, my passion through this 13 years at Salt and Light is to show my students how to be salt and light. Mm-hmm. With that, I get so many that still come back to see me. The ones at Swansboro High School I'm still friends with today. A lot of my students from over there still come back and see me because I worked with them right where they were in their situations. I had an ed psych professor in college who wouldn't let us dive into any of the curriculum. He sat up on the desk and he said, you're a fool to think that you can educate children if you haven't had an ounce of concern for what happened this morning before they walked in your classroom door.
Mm-hmm. Oh, wow.
That hits me. That's what teachers need to be aware of. That's what we're missing in the political realm, in the Board of Education. We are missing that element that is the most crucial. What is rooted in our children? Johnny's ODD and Sarah's ADHD comes from a root that is not either one of those things. Right. There's a lack of discipline. There's a lack of love. There's a something out there. Does that negate their diagnosis? Absolutely not. Do we need to take into account the IEP? Of course we do. But there's a child in there. It's all of us, Eden. You and I are right there today. There's a child in us that just wants to be loved by somebody. When you tap into that, you can teach them rocket science. You can teach them Mandarin Chinese. They will eat out of the palm of your hand. And that's where I want to empower teachers in effective strategies for classroom management and in how to just take a deep breath and be real and love their students.
Right. Let me ask you this. You had mentioned the inner child of just wanting to be loved. And another aspect to your amazing journey has been working with human trafficking and basically protecting and helping those who have dealt with the human trafficking space. Talk to me a little bit about Eastern North Carolina and what you are seeing. Every state now is a border state. There's no two ways about it. Right. And human trafficking is going to be is affecting all of us in one way or another, whether we want to take off our rose-colored glasses or not. So talk to me a little bit about how this is happening and what we as a community of Eastern North Carolina, what we as a community across the states can do to combat this from continuing to happen. And what are some of the signs we need to be looking for?
Yeah, thank you for that. Again, it goes back to education. North Carolina always falls in the top 10 in the United States for number of human trafficking victims. One of the things you can see just right here around you is how many strip clubs are in the area. A lot of people are going to argue that that is not tied. let me just tell you, that free pornography that you looked at this morning before you got on to actually do your work, that's not free. That was bought at a price. That was bought at the life of a young woman who did not sign up for that.
Right.
And what we need to know is that, forgive my mutt, who's an emotional support, but what we need to know about that is that this is real. The struggle is real. Human trafficking is a real thing. It starts in our homes. I know we don't want to believe it. When we gave Billy his tablet at 6 years old, and he was infiltrated with this stuff because it happens all the time. I'm not making it up. I'm not exaggerating. It happens. All of a sudden, before the age of 10, he is addicted to pornography. When you see that the average age of a trafficked victim is 13, that's sickening. That's illegal, but it's happening. So what can we do? Get away from the screens. Just put them away. Go to some place like Covenant Eyes and put that out. As an adult, I did it. As a woman, as an ordained pastor, I put Covenant Eyes on my devices when I put it on my kids' devices so that I'm held accountable for what I view and don't view. And the other thing is, we have to take a stand. We have to stop denying it. We have to quit pretending like it's not a problem. And it's okay, because marriage counselors will encourage you to sit down and watch pornography together to improve your married sex life. It's the devil's agenda. And the best thing we can do is educate. Learn that pornography directly fuels sex slavery. Learn that those videos that you're watching are evidence videos for the FBI, because those women are actually being raped. They're not acting like they're being raped. So we have to not be afraid to talk about these things. I am so grateful. You can hear it in my heart. I'm passionate. I'm so grateful that you slid into this conversation, because we could spend the rest of the day talking about it. It's not just the professional sports world. If you learn about the Super Bowl, you learn that's the number one place, the NFL Super Bowl, where women and children are trafficked. But it happens in the Target bathroom. It happened. I'm sorry, I probably shouldn't use Target as an example. But I mean, it happens in public restrooms. It happened at the NC State Fair when my ex was a police officer. It happens in our backyard. It happens in your neighbor's house. Our women have been rescued out of houses where people said, I had no idea that was my neighbor. She was so sweet. She was so kind. I had no idea that she was buying and selling.
Let me ask you something. Okay, you touched upon a couple things. First and foremost, tell us what Covenant Eyes is.
Yeah, it's a great filtering app. You can put it on your computer. You can put it on your phone. It's an organization that has, and it's got accountability in there. So it allows parents, when you put the app on your child's phone or on their device, it allows you to decide what apps they can put on. It allows them to be able to utilize the internet and utilize their apps, and the parent gets to see what's happening on that device. It will alert them if a child puts something on the device that's unauthorized. And so you can monitor what they're doing. It also actually acts as a blocker or a filter, because unfortunately we don't get to opt out of these things. That's the way it should be. We should get to opt in, and instead we have to opt out. If I want to look at porn, I should be able to make that choice to go look at it, because I can't unsee something I've seen. The images pop up. You can just do a Google search. Even in a classroom today, there's not a filter that stops that from happening. So Covenant Eyes filters that information before it gets to the child, so they're not faced with an image that they can no longer get out of their minds.
When you mentioned about the Super Bowl, I have heard that for years. And, I sat there and thought about, wow, the Super Bowl. Of all places, what is it about the Super Bowl that is drawing in this sex slavery? What is it? Where does it start? And how did it start? And where we as a community, where do we stand up and say enough is enough? What are we doing to stop this from continuing to happen, especially in Eastern North Carolina? You just said North Carolina is the top 10 in human trafficking. Oh my gosh. Why can't North Carolina be the top 10 for our veterans? Can't be the top 10 in educating our kids? But instead, it has a human trafficking piece? That's ridiculous. That's disgusting. That's disgusting.
You know, those words right there, not enough people's stomachs are turned when they hear it. Not enough people are ready to vomit. I'm ready to vomit when I hear it. You can say it's disgusting. Too many people say, and this is where it comes into the Super Bowl, and this is where it comes into the NBA, and this is where it comes into college sports, boys will be boys. That's where it comes from. Boys will be boys. How about we raise boys to be men of character and men of integrity who don't buy women? Why? Why are they buying women? Let me just shock you with this one. I recently found out that several of our colleges are recruiting young men for their sports teams by offering them prostitutes. The colleges get prostitutes, they bring them to the colleges, and they offer them to the young men as part of their incentive package. Where does that start, right? That has to start somewhere. That starts in a young man watching pornography. The porn doesn't become enough. The images don't become enough. So let's virtual reality. Let's put on our virtual reality goggles. Let's play Grand Theft Auto, where we can rape a girl, where we can kick her on the street, where we can kill her. Let's start playing that video game when we're 10 years old. And then that's not enough. So now let's go find a woman who is being prostituted. Can we change our language? No such thing as a prostitute. There is not a woman out there who wants to live like that.
Right.
Prostituted. So we go buy a prostituted woman. She's the one who gets arrested. She's the one who gets prosecuted, not her pimp, not her John. When she's not enough, what do? We go to destinations, right? We fly out. We go to these red light districts where we can serve naked women in windows, and we can buy them, and we can have our time with them. I would encourage everybody listening, it's free right now on YouTube, to watch the documentary Nefarious Merchant of Souls. Nefarious Merchant of Souls. Phenomenal, very well done, so that you're not in this, because there's some graphic stuff in this, what we're talking about. But they did a phenomenal job of protecting the graphics while also giving us a real understanding of what's happening. But that is where it all, again, Eden, it all goes back to educating that pornography is the root, and it's as evil as buying and selling people, because that's really what you're doing.
I have to ask you, and you know what? I want you to tell me what universities are doing this as a recruiting package. Are they in the state of North Carolina?
Well, I can't answer that for you, Eden, because I did not do my homework to find out specifically who. I did learn that in a core workshop in a training that I had a few years ago. So unfortunately, I don't have that information for you right now. I would argue it's probably too many to count, but I will say that legislators stepped up and people did fight against that. So there is work being done to try to negate that.
Okay. Let me ask you this. It's 9:22 a.m. Eastern time. It's Monday, August the 1st. And we are here with Salt and Light Academy. And we are here with Maurice Friesner. She's based out of Swansboro, North Carolina. She is our Eastern North Carolina guest for today, and we are grateful to have her. Go to saltandlight.com. We are grateful for you and what you are doing, but I want to go into just another space for a minute. You founded Salt and Light. What are you doing with our students that the public schools, say Onslow County or Carteret County, are not doing? And what are you what are these children learning, and what are they taking away with, and what are they graduating with? What makes you stand out amongst that? I already looked at the website, but I want you to tell our audience the power of Salt and Light Academy.
Thank you very much. So first off, let me just say we are collaborating with our local schools. So our local principals, both in Carteret and Onslow County, know Salt and Light Academy. They know Maurice Friesner. We can request transcripts from them. We send transcripts over. We also have a good relationship. Our mayor at the town of Swansboro, John Davis, has connected our principals and pastors in a phenomenal experience. So we collaborate with each other. We're cooperating with each other. And I love that. But what we are doing, we're taking it a step beyond, and we are working with the whole family. I remember a few years back, my sons, actually, all three of my children have had experiences in Catholic school, in public school, and here at Salt and Light Academy. But I remember a few years ago, my boys were at the high school, and I wanted to go have lunch with Kevin. And I was excited because his friends appreciate me. And I was excited to go sit in the cafeteria and see some of his friends and eat lunch with them. And I found out that I couldn't do that. I wasn't allowed in the cafeteria. I had to go. And this is all for a purpose, right? I mean, we got to be careful about who's in our schools. Are they bringing weapons in? Blah, blah, blah. But I had to eat with him in the office. And I was devastated. That hurt my heart. It really did. Because I didn't get that opportunity to love on those kids like I really wanted to in that, what would have been a cafeteria setting. I remember my dad coming in and eating lunch with me as a kid, and I loved it. And the kids loved it. And my dad loved it. So we minister to the whole family.
Yes.
We bring families in. We help them make the best decision for their child, even if it's not Salt and Light Academy. We've had many a family receive counseling from us and help from us and never enroll their children. Perfectly okay. Because our goal is not to enroll kids at Salt and Light. Our goal is to get them the best educational experience they can get. And I'll tell you what that looks like. That looks like me trying to stay relevant, not be cool. Don't misunderstand me, teachers. You don't have to be cool. I'm wearing my Chucks. But that's because staying relevant means having a kid come in with his mama who's been a behavior problem in another school setting, come right up front and tell you that he's a behavior problem. And you look at him and say, that's who you were. That's who you were. I'm not even concerned about that anymore. Because when you come here, we're not going to tolerate it. But you know what? That young man is going to learn that he doesn't want to be that way, because he'll receive respect from me from day one, regardless of his background, regardless of his transcript, regardless of how many times he was in the principal's office. I'm going to respect that young man until he disrespects me. And then we're going to have a conversation. I'm not going to cross that line and disrespect him. We're going to have a conversation. And I'm going to invite mom in, and she's going to sit in on the conversation. We do that a lot. That goes a really, really long way. Just the communication. Absolutely. Just connecting. I told you this the other day. He was sitting here, we were talking. He said he may need to leave early from school. And the way our school day, it's a little bit different. I said, well, if you need to dip early, that's okay. And then I sat back. I was like, did I just say if you need to dip early?
Yes, you did. Yes, you did. I learned that one from some of the teenagers my husband and I hang out with and mentor. I said, what? So, yeah. We have just about a minute left. It is 9:26 a.m. Eastern Time. We are here with Maurice Friesner. She's with Salt and Light Academy in Swansboro, North Carolina, which is Eastern North Carolina. Maurice, final words. Where can people find you? Where can they get involved? You are an educator. You are fighting the human trafficking rings. You are working with Salt and Light Academy. You are a missionary. You have so many things that you have, all these moving parts. And I love the journey that you have led and the power that you and people are just drawn to you by your spirit and what the Lord has done in your life. Where can people get involved with you? Where can they go and donate? Where can they go and volunteer? Where can they run alongside of you and help serve?
I love that. Thank you so much. Yes. First off, they can come to 686 West Corbett Avenue, Suite 3, right next to the Highway 55 restaurant. Our door is always open. Summertime hours are a little bit different, but we'll drop everything to love on somebody and give them a hug. You can find us there. You can find us at snlacademy.org. That's the webpage. You can find us on Facebook. You can find us on Instagram. We are housed in this little suite with TJ's, which is an outreach mission. Timothy and Jeremiah's is a nonprofit. We accept donations through the nonprofit to provide scholarships to our students. So we welcome that. We also welcome very simple things. You and I talked before about the Keurig, and I'm a tea drinker. We welcome styrofoam cups. We welcome animal crackers. We all the little things add up to big things in our world. So yeah, just and come see me and talk to me. Let's do a mission trip together. Let's go. I mean, we go right on the beach and distribute water, cold water to people, and just no agenda, just to love them. Just to love them. Well, I'll do anything. You can come pet my doggie. Miss Willow is the sweetest. And one of my students early on said, wow, I've never been to a school that has a dog. And I'll tell you what, we just think outside the box, and we love outside the box. So yeah, please come see me, come say hi. Let me wrap my arms around your neck.
You know, one of my favorite things that you had said to me when we talked last week, and we're going to leave it on that, stop putting kids in a box. Did I get that right?
Thank you for that. Yes, thank you for that, Eden, because they are important. Oh gosh, I know we need to stop. But if we valued life at the very beginning and we valued it at the end, which we don't in the United States of America, we don't value it in the middle anymore either. Our kids are a burden. We can't wait to have them babysat by Google or Disney Plus. What we need to do is invest in our children today. We need to quit saying that they're the future because they're here right now. There's a suicide epidemic that's real right now. We need to love our kids today. Yes, empower them where they are. Your art student, give her the brushes, give her the canvas, tell her how beautiful she is. Your son who wants to do ballet, get him the shoes, get him the leotard, love him where he's at. It doesn't matter what it is. Let him get muddy. Let him play in the dirt. Like, we have got to quit trying to tailor who they are and let them be who God made them from the start and love them right there. They're there today. They've got gifts today that we need to push them to excel in.
Amen. And on that, we got to wrap this segment. Maurice Friesner, Salt and Light Academy, all of you out there, whether you're local, Eastern North Carolina, or you're around the globe, reach out to Salt and Light Academy. Reach out to Maurice Friesner. She has an amazing testimony, an amazing journey, and she is on the front lines in Swansboro, North Carolina. Maurice, thank you so much for being with us today. You are such a blessing.
My pleasure, Eden. Thank you for how you are empowering Eastern North Carolina and the world. Thank you very much for your life.
Oh, thank you. Many blessings to you. And TK, it's 9:31 a.m. Eastern time, and are we ready for our break?
Oh yeah, we rolling into the new hour. Ladies and gentlemen, the Asylum, Your Refuge in a World Gone Mad will return right after these.
Hello, I'm Matt Bennett with WWAY News. Police in Wilmington need your help after an overnight shooting Saturday. Around 1 o'clock, officers responded to a shots fired report at the intersection of North 2nd and Princess Streets. When they arrived, they found a shooting victim on the sidewalk. He was taken to New Hanover Regional Medical Center with non-life-threatening injuries. Wilmington Police is asking anyone with information to come forward. You can remain anonymous by using the Tip 411 app. Crews continue to search for a 24-year-old swimmer who went missing Friday in North Topsail Beach. What was supposed to be a family reunion vacation changed dramatically. As the family prepared dinner, Christopher Guthrie went to the beach to look for his 24 and 12-year-old nephews. He says the brothers were headed toward a wrecked shrimp boat and apparently got into trouble after the tide started to rise. The 12-year-old was saved. The 24-year-old remains missing. Starting today, parking fees are going up in downtown Wilmington. Last month, City Council approved the increases after staff completed a study of parking fees in other nearby cities of similar size. That study found Wilmington's fees were lower. Starting today, several increases will be going into effect. On-street meters are increasing from $1.50 to $2 per hour. The free parking grace period at the 2nd Street and Market Street parking decks will decrease from 90 minutes to 30 minutes. Fees also increase at the 2nd Street and Hannah Block lots, the Convention Center, and River Place deck. The city says the higher rates will help cover operation costs and other capital improvements. And a Chick-fil-A in North Carolina has been looking for so-called volunteer workers who would be paid with chicken sandwiches and fries instead of paying actual wages. The store in Hendersonville posted the position on social media Tuesday, calling it a, quote, volunteer-based opportunity where drive-thru workers would be paid with 5 entrees a shift instead of money. The move generated some backlash. For more on these stories, you can head over to WWAYTV3.com. I'm Matt Bennett. Have a great day.
Happy Monday, everybody. I'm WWAY meteorologist Ramel Carpenter with the Storm Track 3 forecast. Another hot and humid day on tap as we kick off a new month of August, and our highs inland of the coast are going to climb into the middle 90s. Heat index values will range anywhere between 100 to perhaps 104 degrees from time to time. As we head into the second half of the day, there's only a small chance for some isolated showers and thunderstorms to develop. Most backyards are going to hold on to dry time. As for tonight, still remaining warm and steamy as we fall down to the middle and the upper 70s. Get your full forecast on WWAY and WWAYTV3.com.
This news and weather is brought to you by 2 Men and a Truck. For your free quote, go to 2menandatruck.com. 2menandatruck.com.
This show is also sponsored by Dr. Tony Maglione. Dr. Tony is a cardiologist practicing in Wilmington. He accepts Medicare patients, and his office is located across the street from New Hanover Regional Medical Center at 2032 17th Street. The office number is 202-1071. Dr. Tony is an author whose last book is Rules for Conservative Patriots, and it can be purchased on Amazon. His website is www.drtonymag.com.
On a scale of 1 to 5, how much do you enjoy working out? Like most, you probably said 1 or 2. What if there was a place where you could go not only to get a great workout, but enjoy doing it? At Full Circle Fitness, our members look forward to coming in. Not only do they get a great workout, but they have fun doing it. Our coaches will guide you through a safe, effective workout tailored to you and your level of ability. Get started today. Full Circle Fitness, 910-399-8350.
I am State Farm Agent Rob Renz, and I want to help you get to a better place. Visit us online at ilminsurance.com. That's ilminsurance.com. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Yep. Hey, welcome back to the Asylum, your refuge in a world gone mad, right here on the Big Talker Network. I promise we will change that name because the hostess for our show is probably not as crazy as I am. So we're going to let her take over the show from here with a fantastic guest that's been with us for a couple of years now. Of course, I am extremely grateful for his participation in the program. Ladies and gentlemen, Miss Eden Gordon-Hill. And, of course, Mr. Paul Valone.
Spit it out, TK. Spit it out.
I'm working on it, man. It's been a minute. She's taken over, so I don't say it as much.
Thanks, TK.
Excuses.
Hey, it works for the president. Why not me?
Because you're not as senile as he is. That's why.
Oh, well, I thank you for that vote of confidence. I really do. That's definitely an upgrade from the family's opinion of me.
Hey, Paul, welcome back to the show. Good morning, everyone. It's Monday, August the 1st. It is 9:36 a.m. Eastern Time. Good morning, Eastern North Carolina. I'm Eden Gordon-Hill. I am your host here and live in Chester County, Pennsylvania, among the cornfields and God's country. Hey, Paul, it's so great to have you back this morning. What do you got for us?
Well, not good news, I'm afraid. Last week, Friday. Well, actually, let's go to Thursday. Thursday, the U.S. House under Nancy Pelosi tried to pass H.R. 1808, which is a ban on a wide variety of semi-automatic firearms and also standard capacity magazines. Well, Nancy told us she didn't have the votes. And so consequently, we were told that the vote would be put off until after they came back from recess because they went out on recess for most of the month of August, I believe.
Right.
Well, surprise. Word started coming in Thursday night that they were going to shunt this thing to the floor on Friday. Your classic Democrat, sandbag 'em, type of tactic. And sure enough, over the vociferous objections of the Republicans, they introduced a bill, which basically a procedural bill, which shunted the H.R. 1808 out of the House Rules Committee and onto the floor. And then they proceeded to vote on the thing. And unsurprisingly, in the Democrat-controlled House, it passed by 217 to 213. Now, that was pretty much a party line vote, which is, about what one would expect. We did have two Republican defectors, but the truth is, if anybody says, aha, that would have made the difference, no, it wouldn't have. Because what Nancy Pelosi was doing was she was giving Democrats in marginal districts a pass, to vote against the bill. As long as she had enough votes. As soon as she knew she had a couple of Republican votes, she gave some Democrats a pass to vote against the bill so that they couldn't be targeted by, gun rights supporters in the next election. The two Republicans who voted for this thing were Fitzpatrick from Pennsylvania and our good buddy Chris Jacobs from New York. Now, Chris Jacobs is he's a lame duck. He's not running again because when he came out for support on the semi-auto ban the last time, his own party blasted him so thoroughly that he decided not to run again. So, the thing most people don't realize about this bill is that it's not a reprise of the 1994 to 2004 semi-auto ban. You may recall that in 94 they passed this thing, and it had a sunset provision in it, fortunately, and it did expire in 2004. Now, the difference between these two is that the original semi-auto ban had a two-feature test. In other words, to be one of those big, bad old assault weapons, which don't really exist, by the way. That's just a name created by the gun control organizations to make you think that these are fully automatic weapons when, in fact, they are semi-automatic weapons. They're functionally no different than any hunting rifle. You depress the trigger once, it fires one round. Okay, it's not a machine gun.
Right.
But the original ban, if it had two features like a folding stock, a pistol grip, a flash suppressor, a foregrip. There are some other things, some ridiculous things, bayonet mounts. I don't know anybody that's been bayoneted recently, but that's all right. And some other features. If it had two of those features, it was deemed a so-called assault weapon and banned. The difference is this time it is one feature. So if it's a semi-automatic firearm with a detachable magazine and it has one of these features, it would be banned under this thing. The funny part is it includes, by the way, both rifles, actually includes rifles, pistols, and shotguns. Now, one of those features is a threaded barrel. So if the gun has a threaded barrel, just one feature, it's a so-called assault weapon. Well, I got news for you. My little Ruger 2245, little 22 caliber pistol, target pistol, has a threaded barrel. It would be banned under this bill. As a matter of fact, I sent out a picture of this supposedly banned weapon with my blog this week, and it's about as benign a target pistol as you could possibly see. So people need to realize that this is a particularly draconian bill. That's the bad news. The good news is I think we can stop in the Senate, I hope. Now, they would need 60 votes in the Senate for cloture under the Senate rules. That's called a filibuster, if you will.
Right.
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead. I'm listening. I'm agreeing with you. Keep going.
All right, so we got a 50-50 Senate right now, 50 Democrats, 50 Republicans. And so they don't have the votes for cloture unless they get, a bunch of turncoat Republicans like they did for the last federal gun control bill, which was admittedly much more benign than this one. And so, plus they could, in theory, suspend the filibuster rule, or revoke it entirely with a simple majority of 51 votes. Unfortunately for them, so far, Joe Manchin, Democrat from West Virginia, the guy I call the last blue dog Democrat, and also Kyrsten Sinema of Arizona have so far said that they will not vote to revoke or to end the filibuster. So far, we're holding strong, but we should also note that Joe Manchin just sold us out on the Green New Deal light,
Yes.
With Chuck Schumer. So we're going to be putting some pressure on not only the Republican delegation, but also on Joe Manchin and Kyrsten Sinema to not change the rules. And therefore, they lack 60 votes for cloture, and hopefully we can stop this bill in the Senate. It's widely conjectured that it doesn't have enough support in the Senate to pass, but they also told us Friday they didn't have enough votes in the House for it to pass there, too. And they lied to us there. So who knows for sure?
Well, we have this morning with us, it's 9:43 a.m. Eastern Time. It is Monday, August the 1st. We have Paul Valone on the phone with us. He is the host of Guns, Politics, and Freedom, and he is briefing us this morning on H.R. 1808 that was passed in the House on Friday morning. And Paul, as I'm sitting here thinking about us gun-toting, freedom-loving Americans, in layman's terms, kind of give us a quick overview. What can we do as I drive through God's country on my way back to North Carolina next week? What can we do? What can I do to make sure this does not pass the Senate? What can we do? Do we bombard the House switchboard? Do we call our local officials? Do we call our members of Congress? What are we going to do to protect our rights?
Well, I can tell you something real simple right off the bat. My organization, Grassroots North Carolina, issues legislative alerts. We also have them on our website. My first recommendation for people is to sign up for our alerts by going to the left side of the home page at grnc.org. That's GRNC, like Grassroots North Carolina, grnc.org. On the left side, they can sign up for alerts. Or they can also click on the link for the existing alerts. What we do with our legislative alerts is we realize people don't have a lot of time. They have a lot of competing interests on their life. And we also realize that the political system is made deliberately Byzantine in order to exclude people. And that, people don't have time to keep on top of political developments the way I might. So what we do is we come up with alerts that allow them, in a matter of just a couple of minutes, to contact legislators. We give them the list of legislators to contact, what to do, what to say. We even have pre-copied messages. In some cases, you can just click. This is harder in Congress, but in some cases for state legislation, you can just click a link and it gives you a pre-filled out message form, which you can modify yourself if you like, but it's already addressed. All you have to do is sign your name and send it. The idea is that somebody can respond to one of our legislative alerts in less than 5 minutes. So if we will be having, we don't have it up quite yet, but we will be having alerts up targeting the United States Senate, targeting specifically Trader Tom Tillis, our own middling, mediocre Republican senator. Also, Benedict Burr, the other sellout that on the last federal gun control bill.
Oh, fabulous. Keep going. Keep going. You're making my soul happy this morning. Keep going.
And, of course, we'll also be targeting Republican leadership, Mitch McConnell, and we will be targeting the two Democrats who are not prone to go against the filibuster, to rescind the filibuster, namely Kirsten Sinema and Joe Manchin. So, and we'll give them entire details on how they can contact these people and how to go about it. So that's the thrust of our effort will be against those people in the United States Senate beginning later this week.
Okay, perfect. Also talk to us as they are heading into August recess. What else do you see on the horizon that we, the American people, that we, the freedom-loving patriots, need to be aware of as summer is coming to a halt? We head back into school year. We head back into Congress when they head back in September, end of August into September. What do we need to be educating ourselves, educating the voter as we head into the November elections? And even like we said last week, even if it's a red wave doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be a red wave. We have to be very careful on what we're putting in there, specifically what you had spoke to last week. But tell us, what do we need to be looking ahead to with regards to legislation, with regards to our gun rights, with regards to educating on the streets and doing grassroots with the American voter in the state of North Carolina specifically?
Well, you said it in one word or two words: November elections. Because if this underscores anything, it is the importance of taking over the United States House in Congress. Now, they may or may not get the Senate, but we need to take over the House right off the bat. The elections will be utterly crucial this year, and there will be some races that people might not normally think about that they're going to need to think about. Obviously, the U.S. Senate race here will be extremely important. We have Congressman Ted Budd is running for the United States Senate. This guy is the real deal, okay? He's a gun shop owner. He is a solid conservative. He has been to many of our grassroots North Carolina events. He is one of the few guys, matter of fact, he's the only guy in the North Carolina congressional delegation with a perfect voting record and a perfect record of bill sponsorship. He is the real deal. And he's running against former North Carolina Supreme Court Justice Sherry Beasley, who is a leftist of the first order, who has said that she would examine, this is somebody who used to be a Supreme Court justice, saying she would look at, consider packing the court. Okay, so she's bad news right now. The polls are running pretty close between the two of them. I think the last couple I saw that Ted Budd was pulling out slightly ahead, but there's a lot of out-of-state leftist money coming in for Sherry Beasley, and we really need to get out there for Ted Budd. So my recommendation is that people should volunteer for his campaign, should donate to his campaign, and quite frankly, we'll be doing a lot of stuff: independent expenditures, mailings, robocalls, robotexts, social media advertising, radio spots, and a little surprise we're going to have for Ted Budd in the upcoming election. Now, the ones that they might not think about are the judicial races in North Carolina.
Right.
Many times, until not too long ago, the judicial races were, in theory, nonpartisan, which meant that they were partisan, but you, the voter, didn't deserve to know what their leanings were. Fortunately, the Republicans in the General Assembly changed that a number of years back, and now you can clearly identify the party of the candidates. We have two races for the North Carolina Supreme Court that are especially important. Right now, consider that the Supreme Court is controlled by the Democrats 4-3, the North Carolina Supreme Court. And consequently, they do things like, reject all the districts that you sent the Republicans to Raleigh to draw. Okay. Yeah. And in fact, they imposed a special master and came up with congressional districts that basically cost us 2 congressional seats. All right. Strictly partisan, maneuvering on the part of the Democrats. And so if we can take one seat, and one of them is open, if we can take one seat, then conservatives will now control the North Carolina Supreme Court, and maybe we can actually get the voter ID law that the voters approved years ago into effect. That would be nice. That would. We are strongly recommending that people vote for Rich Dietz. It's D-I-E-T-Z. Rich Dietz for North Carolina Supreme Court. Once again, this guy is the real deal, and if he can take over that seat, then we're in good shape. The other candidate we're recommending for the North Carolina Supreme Court is Trey Allen, and that seat there is an incumbent in that seat. The one that Rich is running for is an open seat, but there is an incumbent. It is Sam Ervin IV, who's still riding the coattails of his grandfather, I guess, that was one of the Watergate prosecutors.
Okay.
But he's basically a leftist who needs to be removed. We've also got a couple of candidates for the North Carolina Court of Appeals that we're very happy to promote, particularly Michael Stadding. He is someone that we're very heavily promoting for the Court of Appeals. Good, solid conservatives all. So if they sign up for our alerts at grnc.org, they will get legislative alerts and they will get election alerts as the time approaches. We have a very large project for the elections we call Remember in November, a guide to candidates' views on guns. And this is not express advocacy. We are not advocating the election or defeat of any candidate with that project. But what it does is it evaluates all of the candidates for state and federal office across North Carolina and where they stand on guns. On a 0 to 4 evaluation system that tells you how closely their views correlate with a control group of conservative gun owners. A candidate who gets 4 stars is expected to agree with the control group at least 90% of the time, 3 stars, 80% on down the list. That is a voter education project, but we also have 2 political action committees. One, the GRNC Political Victory Fund, and by the way, they can go to grnc.org right now and buy a raffle ticket for the Let's Go Brandon Politically Incorrect raffle, and we're raffling off a rather attractive Springfield Armory AR-15. And that is being used to fund our activities by the GRNC Political Victory Fund, our federally registered PAC, and we will be doing independent expenditures to beat the daylights out of some of these anti-gun candidates.
I love it. Go back really quickly. We have grnc.org on the screen for anybody who's watching. We have Paul Valone with us, who was the host of Guns, Politics, and Freedom. It is 9:54 a.m. Eastern Time. It is Monday, August the 1st. Really quickly, a couple things I wanted to just focus in on. The whole Let's Go Brandon piece and basically the legislative alerts and voter education. Those are things I'm really very interested in. Talk about a little bit more in depth where people can really get involved and get educated on their gun rights. Can you say that again, when that event will be?
I'm sorry. Say, what exactly are you looking for?
You were talking about voter education and really talking about all the candidates and where they stand on the gun rights, not necessarily advocating for one candidate versus another, but really setting that up.
We'll have all that information out. We plan to put out 175,000 voter guides. We have a database of roughly 400,000 gun-owning voters, so we'll be hopefully mailing in excess of 100,000, perhaps as many as 150,000 voter guides directly to gun-owning voters. The rest we will distribute through gun shows, gun shops, civic organizations, and we will be sending out a postcard to people and and asking them to distribute them to their VFW or their Rotary Club or whatever it happens to be, their local gun range, their local gun club. In any case, we need help. So if people can join us, again, grnc.org, right at the top, you'll see a place where you can join the organization. And once we have that information, you will receive voter guides and election alerts and a variety of things. And by the way, they do not need to join the organization to receive email alerts. If they want to just sign up for email alerts, they can do that too. We make a point of mass distribution of information beyond the core constituency of our membership in order to maximize our leverage on the political system.
And I would say finally we're at 9:56 a.m. We have just a few minutes left. Talk to us about your book. I want to highlight your book yet again and talk to us about some of the finer points of your book and why we need to go out and grab it on Amazon.com.
Okay, I'm good at this one. This is shameless self-promotion. I'm good at that. Anyways, rules. My book is called Rules for Anti-Radicals, a Practical Handbook for Defeating Leftism. Now, you'll recognize that as a play on Saul Alinsky's Rules for Radicals, which has been the playbook for the left for the last 50 years. Well, it goes well beyond Alinsky, and I've actually refined and expanded on a lot of his methods, and I've come up with some very specific tactics, okay, very specific tactics on how you can defeat leftists, not only in the political arena, but in daily life. This book is aimed both at political activists, conservative activists, and also at mainstream Americans who, frankly, are getting tired of being beaten down by the woke mob in daily life, be it their school board, their HOA, their city council, their woke employer, whatever it happens to be. Now, you can get the book 2 places. You can go to Amazon, and yes, it is available on Amazon. Just search Rules for Anti-Radicals. And also, you can get it from my site, which is rulesforantiradicals.com. Rulesforantiradicals.com. And this will give you practical advice on how you can defeat leftists in daily life or in politics.
You know what? as we are sitting here and we are 99 days out until November the 8th, 2022, General Election Day, you know what? For all of those out there listening, both in Eastern North Carolina and around the globe, get out there and pick up this book. Get out there, get involved. We need to defeat, as you call the leftists, I call them libtards. And that's what I'm going to call them. We need to get out there and defeat the libtards. I've about had it with the libtards. I've about had it with those who are trying to impose the woke cult on our education system, on our families, on our nation. Get out there, get this book, go to Amazon.com. It's Paul Valone. He is the host of Guns, Politics, and Freedom. And you know what, Paul? What's your gut telling you about the Senate vote? And our final minute here on the air.
The Senate vote on H.R. 1808 or the Senate election?
Yep, 1808. What's your final gut feeling on all of this?
Well, my final gut is I think we got it, but I never count on anything. And by the way, don't count on a red wave in November either. We don't want people to stay home, okay, thinking, well, this one's in the bag. I don't need to do anything. That is never the case. Every vote counts. I've won congressional races for U.S. House by 67 votes. I've deposed incumbent congressmen by 253 votes. Every vote counts. So your voice counts on killing H.R. 1808, and your vote counts in November.
Amen. Well, you said it, Paul. Thanks for that wrap. We're wrapping the show. It's 10 a.m. Eastern Time here in Chester County, Pennsylvania. And to all of you in Eastern North Carolina, thank you for all of your support. We have an amazing show tomorrow. Tune in. Thank you. God bless you.
You're tuned in to the Big Talker Network, Wilmington, North Carolina's premier internet station for news and talk radio programming. Find us online at bigtalker.live.
Folks, you're all looking for that special gift. Lines are long, traffic is frustrating, supply chains in the news. Just take a deep breath. If you're anywhere near Oak Island, come by Seaside Jewelers, 8801 East Oak Island Drive. Avoid the traffic, the lines, the frustration, and get that extraordinary and special gift. From high-end diamond rings to Larimar, from necklaces to bracelets, watches, and unique jewelry. And you also get one-on-one service with their experienced staff. Great prices now, just in time for the holidays. Come by and check out Seaside Jewelers, 8801 East Oak Island Drive.
Listen to Tom Goolsby on The Chad Adams Show.
People with common sense know that the entire theory of socialism is one big lie.
The Big Talker 106.7 FM.
I am State Farm Agent Rob Renz, and I want to help you get to a better place. Visit us online at ilminsurance.com. That's ilminsurance.com. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Hello, I'm Matt Bennett with WWAY News. Police in Wilmington need your help after an overnight shooting Saturday.